What's up, everybody? It's Red Element again, coming at you from the redstone testing world. And while I was at the base earlier, I realized that I'm using a very outdated dropper elevator. And I like dropper elevators better than I do water elevators in my storage system, because I just want the output chest. I don't actually want to see a hopper connected to it with a water stream coming up and over and into it and all that. It just looks like crap. And with the dropper, I can just pump it right up into it. Plus, there's a little bit of item protection where if for some reason something goes wrong, my items aren't despawning in a water stream. So what I realized when I was actually working on this contraption here, my item batcher that I installed recently, I noticed that if I power this dropper here, that one right there, that it would also power this dropper. And the reason I did that was not only to get double output from the shulker, but also so that these trapdoors didn't get powered, so they weren't flipping around and making a bunch of noise. And what I realized is that I could do the same thing here. Now, in my storage system, my water stream comes into it like this. So the water comes in here and it fills up this bottom hopper. And I do only have 3 of them. So for my world, this is all I actually need. So if I come in here, these items go in here, and they're getting pushed out into this counter. Now, as you can see, once it starts, it's silent. The initial kick up and I guess the rising edge and the falling edge both have noise of the pistons moving. But other than that, the droppers themselves are silent as long as they're pushing items. Now, I did play around with this thing a little bit to see how far I could expand it. And this was my initial design. I assumed that these 3 would get powered, these 3 would get powered by that one, and so forth and so on. But it doesn't actually work out in practice. What tends to happen is they're all firing and items are coming into here, but once it finishes, some items get stuck. I'm guessing because of update order. See, there's one, there's another, but things like that, and that didn't work out. But what does work is this. So just by adding an extra observer on each slice, worked out fine. No items lost. Now, all this command block does is a tick warp as soon as I put items in here, and that was just for testing. So we'll put this wool in here, and then the command block kicks on and just tick warps, because I use carpet in my testing world. And there we go. And my TPS is a little low just because of OBS running right now. Now, like I said, this is infinitely expandable. And to prove that, I have this right here. And this goes all the way to build height. And I'm not going to fly all the way up there right now, just because it's a long way. And you might be wondering why I don't have this little command block here. And that's because if I do that, which I already have, it crashes Minecraft. So we're not going to do that at all. But to prove that it does work, let's reset our counters, because I have a blue counter up there. And we'll just do a stack. And as you can see, this many is affecting my performance, and I will explain this later. Oh, there we go. Alright, and it just finished. And just to prove that I'm not pulling a fast one on you, there's our blue counter. .64 white wool came up here, and if we go to our F3, targeted block is at 255. Can't put another block down. So this will go at least from 64 to build height, and I assume it would go from 0 to build height. Now this is something I was playing around with that you can use or not use, but you can actually attach droppers. This dropper's facing into this one. You can attach droppers, and I don't actually want to put that many through. Here we go. And just have it activate from that point up. So you can have one huge tower with a bunch of farms attached that just send items up. And all 12 sandstone made it to the top. Now, I came up with this design on my own, but just to verify nobody had already done something similar, I did a search, and this was the nearest thing I could find. Now, this is a 1x3, and it's 1x3 all the way up. This is 1x4 at the base, and then 1x2. And I used rails here instead of redstone to avoid the light updates, but this one you can't use rails. I tried it with rails, I tried it without rails. It doesn't work. That one does. So here, like before, 12 items went up, and this one does have the command block. That's why it was so fast. Counter black. Let's take that off. Now, like the other one, eventually this does become silent once the other droppers have items in them, because when a dropper's pushing an item from here to another inventory slot, then it doesn't actually make a tick noise. But if it doesn't have an item to push and it's powered, or it just pushes it out into the open or something like that, then it clicks. I wish there was something you could do to silence them, kind of like you do with no blocks, but there isn't. This one's fine. Like I said, I don't like not being able to kill these light updates with this redstone. So that's why I'm going to end up still using my design. These are definitely in the same vein. I found this one on the redstone subreddit. It's nice that it's only 2 wide at the top. And one thing that I do like about these over traditional ones, both designs, is the use of this clock here, because then with my current system, if multiple items get in here and it kind of overflows, then the system breaks, because it relies on the comparator going up and down, on off each time in order to actually run the system. So that's been an ongoing issue. It's part of the reason actually that I did design this right here, was to avoid things going into my overflow system, backing up, things getting stuck in the water streams and despawning. But with this, I won't have to worry about it. Items can flow in as fast as they want to and just go away. I'm going to give a very quick tutorial on how to build this, just because it's extremely simple. So it doesn't require a lot. So you'll start with your dropper chain, however tall you want it to be, going into whatever you want it to go into, like a chest, maybe a new dropper line, whatever the case may be. We'll do a chest. Then you're just going to take a comparator output from the bottom one directly into a sticky piston. And then that's all you need for the first one. That's actually going to handle these first 3. Then you just need a observer facing down. This one's going to read off of this one that raises up, so it's observing every time this one activates, which will time in with this. And then a piece of rail, and as you can see, this one works with redstone or rail. I like rail. Here, like this, and then one observing that, one not there, like that. And then actually, because this one isn't divisible by 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, so like that. So then you take a stack of items, put it in, 64 items. Now again, you can always expand this further. To do that, you're going to put an observer facing that rail, another one facing that observer, block, rail, observer, and you can go up 2 more droppers. If you just need to go up 1 more, like you want an odd one, that's all you need right there. So, like I said, this can be as tall or as short as you want. It is 1 by 3, the entire length. You don't even really need, you only need 1 block below your first dropper. So, like I said, this is a really good design. I know dropper elevators aren't really popular right now, but they're still one of my favorites, and there hasn't been many updates to them since 1.13 because of the water update, and everybody just really loving water streams. Don't get me wrong, I love them too, but you just can't beat a dropper elevator to me. And it's kind of to each their own. Everybody's more than welcome to have their own opinion. This is just a nice update to the dropper elevators that we've seen since like 1.8, 1.11, stuff like that. That's going to do it for me today. I hope this gets used in your world. I hope you find it useful. If you did, like the video. If you didn't, that's fine. Like and subscribe, all the standard YouTube stuff, blah, blah, blah. And if you did build this in your world, shoot me a screenshot or something in the comments. I'd like to see it actually in the wild. Later. Oh, shit. Designing this one, oh, shit. But when I was I've got to get a new mouse.